So a couple of those guys, we opened a gym. And that was the first Muay Thai gym in Vegas. And then time goes on, and then but while I was training the fighters for their fights, the main gym shut down for some reason. Something happened with finances. So then there was only one gym to go to, and it was Johnny Tacos. So, but Johnny's was really packed because there was no place to train. All the fighters were there. So I went to Bob Cheney's, his karate studio. He was a long-time karate guy here in town, but I'd never met him. And I said, hey man, I was wondering, I've been working with these Thai fighters from Thailand, and I don't have any place to train them. And they're getting ready for a fight in LA to fight the guys in the Jet Center. But earlier on, he had Bill Superfoot Wallace at his gym, and I went to a seminar there. So other than that, that's how I knew Bob Cheney. And we're sitting at his desk. I said, yeah, I just need a place to train him. He said, well, is 8 o'clock at night all right? I said, sure, I'll take anything I can get. He reaches in his pockets, throws out his keys. He said, see you at 8. And he friggin' just left me the keys to the gym, and that was it. And then that's how me and Bob Cheney got hooked up. And then the gyms opened up again, and then I kind of left Bob Cheney's, but it was in his head. He was a Taekwondo teacher, and he was the most successful karate teacher in town. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars teaching karate to kids. So then we opened up a gym. The time goes on, and then how did I meet Dale Cook? Okay, so then the last Thai left, and then I was pretty much done. I started having, I think Troy was born, and then you were born, and then I was pretty much done. And then, well, no, I was at Johnny Tacos, and I met Dale Apollo Cook. And he said, yeah, I was training a guy there, and he saw that it was kickboxing. He says, hey, I'm Dale Cook, and I'm gonna do some promoting here. Do you know anything about how to do that stuff here? I said, well, yeah, you gotta go through the athletic commission, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but I think I might know somebody that can help you out. So then I went back to Bob Cheney. I said, hey, I just met Dale Cook, and Dale Cook was the only American that ever beat Thais. He was like really super famous. His name's Dale Apollo Cook. And so then Bob Cheney says, yeah, well, so I hooked up a meeting with those guys, and then we had a meeting, and Bob Cheney, a couple of his students were the owners of the Union Plaza Hotel's kids. So he said, I think I can get the show in the Union Plaza. So then we started doing the shows at the Union Plaza. And Bob Cheney said, hey, well, why don't you just come to my gym? And it was right down the street from Grammy's house. That's where we were living at the time. And you take over the Muay Thai classes at the gym, and I'll do the karate classes. So that's what I did. And Mom was getting kind of pissed off because I had kids and stuff, but I was under this fantasy that I was going to be a famous trainer, and I was working at Beltrans or whatever. I can't even remember where I was working, but then then Bob Cheney said, well, open up a gym here, and actually my wife wants to fight. Can you train her? So I said, yeah. So he set up a whole room on the side of it in his gym for me to just do Muay Thai. So then another guy, Lavelle Robinson, in town, wanted me to train him. And he had a really good boxer and everything. I said, dude, you should go boxing before you do Muay Thai. So he tried to go to boxing, and he just didn't like it. He says, I want to be a kickboxer, because he was a points karate champion. So I started training him, and I started training this guy and Bob Cheney's wife. And then after class, Bob Cheney would come in there and he'd fucking spar with him, because I was the only one that could spar with him, because nobody else knew how to spar. So then that really helped me out, but he was a little older than me, but he was a pretty tough dude, and he fell in love with Muay Thai, and then we started promoting shows at the Union Plaza. So then I went to all the gyms locally in town. I really wasn't a karate guy, but I just went to the gym and said, hey, you know, we're gonna start doing kickboxing at the Union Plaza. Do you have any tough guys that might want to fight? Yeah, I do. And then, so I got, you know, all these different local fighters on the card. So they were all huge sellout cards. I mean, frickin', it was huge. So Dale promoted like at least 9 shows here. And I had like my fighters never lost. I won 3 world titles on his card with my guys, and it was just super easy, because I was the only one that knew Muay Thai, and everybody else was like just imitating from what they'd seen on TV or whatever.
And what year was this in?
Fucking 80, probably 86, 87 area. And then Bob Cheney got this idea that he was gonna I don't need you anymore. I got one of Dale Cook's champions gonna move down here, and he's taking over the classes. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll see you later. You know, it was getting old. I wasn't making a shitload of money. I needed to concentrate on my family. So I moved. I kind of quit. And then me and Mom got in a big fight, and I got kicked out, and frickin' moved into the house behind Grammy's house with a bunch of frickin' losers.
Oh, we're at the house on Leonard Lane.
Yeah. So one of those guys wanted me to train him and give me discounted rent, and then he wanted to fight on one of Dale's cards. So I said, okay. So then this Filipino kid, Melcher Minor, came over and said, hey man, I was hoping you would train me. I've always wanted you to train me. And I said, well dude, I'm not really doing it no more, and frickin' I don't have a gym. He says, that's all right man, can you please help me out? You know, okay. So I started training him. I hung a bag up in the backyard of that old dumpy place that was there, and I started training him, and then Mike. And then so I was gonna get Melcher a fight,